I don't know if Jaffa Cake's a biscuit or a cake. Hey, how's it going, and welcome to Whisky Whims with me, Stuart. Today we've got a whisky from Doors Distillery. It's not their own whisky at the moment, as they've just kind of started producing whisky. I believe they opened in September 2022, so they've not yet got their own whisky to showcase. However, they've got some interesting releases, a blended whisky, so one with grain and malt in it, this blended malt, which is obviously just malted whisky, and my throat's starting to go, and some single cask additions from other distilleries. So the way I'm thinking is, this is while we're waiting for their spirit to be cast and matured. And I'm hoping that this is going to reflect what they are hoping to do in the future. So this is an 8-year-old blend, like I said, single malt, or sorry, not single malt, but a blending of malts. It's 46.7% ABV. The cask number is 7SDALR-001, Dalry 001. So yeah, distilled July 2014, bottled September 2022, first fill European hogshead. So yeah, make of that what you will, but that's, I don't know if you can see, that's all the information there. I quite like the look of the bottle. I'm not going to lie, I think the distillery name's a little unusual. It's a weird distillery name, but the distillery 8Doors is a kind of nod to John O'Groats, who was this guy up there. I believe he kind of created a business shipping people to Orkney, getting them over on the ferry, and he charged them a groat at a time, which is roughly equivalent to 2 pence nowadays. Yeah, so he was charging them a groat, John O'Groats, and he had 7 children. They were all bickering and arguing over who got to sit at the head of the table in their house. So he created an octagonal table, so 8 edges, and they all got to sit at the head of the table. So it was him and his 7 sons. Hence the name is 7 Sons, and hence the name of 8Doors. I believe there was 8 doors leading into the kitchen or the hall, whatever you want to call it, the ceremonial gathering place. I don't know what they do up there. So yeah, there was eight-sided table, and they all sat with 8 doors. So that's the name, where the name comes from, and why the logo of 8Doors. I'm trying to see if the logo's on here anywhere. But why the 8Doors logo is an octagon. So we visited in December. We got treated to a tour by Ryan, the distillery manager, who is a fellow Patreon and firstly and mostly a friend. So we visited him for his birthday. I purchased this prior to heading up, I believe, and it costs £35 to £40 depending on where you buy. I think it's still available at Kinnaird Head Whiskies, and the distillery stock it as well. So we'll get down to the nose, the palate and the finish, and we'll see if this is a Whisky Win or a Whisky Bin. On the nose, there's orange flavoured Kit Kats. There's Quaker Oats mixed, or Quaker Oats golden syrup, I think it is. It's the ones that come in the pre-mixed packs you put in the microwave. They're kind of cheap. They're not the best example of porridge oats. I prefer Scots oats, Scots original oats, and I prefer to do them on the hob. But they're still decent enough if you want a quick porridge in the microwave. It's that kind of powdery oaty porridge with the kind of sweetness from the golden syrup. There's 100% natural peanut butter, and the reason I'm saying 100% natural peanut butter is because it's the peanut butter that you get that's got the oily layer on top when it settles, and you have to put the knife in and mix it up before you spread it. It's not the ones that are packed with sugar or anything. It's like 100% natural, all peanut butter, and it's got that oiliness. And I'm definitely getting a real peanut scent, and it's oily, it's very oily. There's, to link to the Kit Kat and to link to the kind of nuts, there's Dame chocolate or Dime chocolate. I think it used to be spelt Dime on the bar, and then it changed to Dame, but it's that Swedish chocolate bar that's got a thin layer of kind of chocolate, and in the middle is that kind of brittle caramel with a little bit of hazelnut. I'm sure there's a kind of nuttiness in there as well. So there's definitely Dame Bar, and I want to try and paint a picture here. If you ever buy the mini shreddies or even the big shreddies, I think it's shredded wheat for cereal, if you're at the end of the packet and you've got the last one out or the last couple out into your cereal bowl, you normally get a kind of crumbly remnant, crumbly remains of the previous wheaties or shredded wheats. I'm struggling to even explain it myself. But it's just the remainder of the shreddies in the bottom of the packet, and I can smell that. It's a little bit like grist, a little bit kind of cereal-like, malty. I mean, I could have just said grist, but I want to specifically say that you've got to the end of a shreddies box and you're opened the bag and it's all the little crumbs at the end. That's what I'm smelling. I'm enjoying this nose. I think it's quite complex. It's got a lot going on for it. The kind of chocolate, orange, and then the maltiness, cereal elements, and the peanut butter. Yeah, it's quite a nice nose. I spent a lot of time with this last night. I've had maybe just under a quarter out of it, but I've spent like a couple nights taking notes, appreciating it, and really try to pinpoint specific notes instead of just generic kind of honey and. But yeah, I'm enjoying the nose, the palate. Yeah, straight away on the palate, I'm getting like Maltesers. Not as sweet as Maltesers, but I wouldn't try and stick with the sweetness of it, but more the kind of chocolatey maltiness of Maltesers. The almost like savoury. Yeah, almost like savoury kind of taste there. There's like a dried, kind of old porridge taste. Like maybe you've left it in the pan for a couple of days and it's just stuck. I know up north what they do, like further out, kind of Aberdeen way and further, like Cullen, they used to fill their drawers with porridge, like an actual drawer with baking tray or baking paper or whatever, grease-proof paper. And they used to fill it with porridge, let it harden, and then they'd cut it into like kind of bar shapes, and the fishermen would take them on their travels, and this would be their kind of nutrition and their energy. So yeah, it's something like that, like dried porridge, kind of hardened porridge. There's definitely some wood influence on the palate, as well as like a salted popcorn. Once again, that kind of savoury element. It's not too bitter, but it's just giving you enough kind of to like lick your lips. Some soft Jaffa cake flavours as well. Once again, not overly sweet, but there's just that little bit of orange, a little bit of biscuitiness or cakiness, however you want to say it. I don't know if Jaffa cake's a biscuit or a cake.
It's a cake because it's called a Jaffa cake.
Well, that'll be a different discussion for a different day. But it has got this kind of afternoon tea or tea, biscuit and cake kind of feel to it with regards to the Kit Kat, with regards to the Jaffa cake. So yeah, there's a real biscuity kind of malty tone to this dram. They're soft, very subtle, maybe not soft, maybe subtle is a bit better. Very subtle melon undertones to the whiskey. It's not the fruitiest dram, out with the kind of orange Kit Kat, the orange flavoured Kit Kat. It's not the fruitiest, but there is little glimpses of fruit. But yeah, I'm still enjoying the palate. I think I preferred the nose a little more, but the palate's still nice, still quite complex, still a lot going on, and a lot to explore. The finish is probably, I was going to say short to medium, but I think I'm just going to stick with medium. I don't think it's overly long. It's probably I would say medium in the finish. There's dried yogurt that you get on the bottom of cereal bars. Once again, linking to this kind of biscuity, cakey, malty element. It's like those Rice Krispie cereal bars you get or whatever, and they've got a little thickened layer of yogurt, thickened dried layer of yogurt. There's definitely that there, so a little bit of creaminess, and once again the dried aspect coming in. More wood there on the finish, a little bitter, a little oaky, and I'm going to say like a kind of, once again, a savoury element from porridge that you sometimes get. Not necessarily salted porridge, just say you're cooking porridge with just water. I don't know who does it. Usually you're either sugar or you're salt. I don't know anyone that just cooks porridge with just water, and I cook it with milk. Just water's mental. But if you imagine just cooking porridge with water, maybe a little bit of salt, but not overly, just a pinch or whatever. Not too bitter or too savoury, but just edging on that savoury aspect, a little bit creamy. But nothing too creamy because there's no milk in the porridge. So that's what I'm going to say for the finish. I'm going to have a little bit more just because I'm enjoying it, and we'll see if there's anything else. Yeah, I think it's all I'm getting. The finish is nice as well. The palate and the nose, really good, and really a well-rounded dram, I feel, a well-rounded whiskey, quite balanced, nothing too obscure, and everything's timed well together. So we'll get down to my rating system. I feel like this has been quite a long video. Would I buy it again? Would I recommend it? And do I think it's worth it? So I'm sure I paid £35 for this. Do I think it's worth it at £35? Yes. You're getting a decent ABV, 46.7, quite a unique ABV, quite specific. You're getting non-chill filtered. I don't know if I said non-chill filtered, but it is no chill filtration and natural colouring. So you're getting those kind of terms on there, those aspects of the whiskey. So I think it is worth the £35. It's got the 8-year age statement on there as well. It's got loads of cash details if you want to try and trace that. It's got when it was filled, when it was distilled, and when it was bottled or whatever. So yeah, a lot of good details on there, well worth the £35. Would I recommend it? Yeah, I'd recommend this. It's a nice whiskey, it's got a lot to offer, and it's only £35. You can't really go wrong with it. I can't say anything negative about it. It's a good dram, it's a good bottle. The only thing negative I would say is 8 Doors is a weird name. Seven Sons isn't bad for like the blend side of things, but 8 Doors sounds like a gin name to me. That's all I would say. Still, whatever. And would I buy it again? I think I would actually. Yeah, I think I would. £35. If I finish this, depending on how this year goes, and what I'm buying, like I'm going through this quite quick. Since I've had it opened, I've only had it open for about just under a month. And I have went through it quite quick. I am enjoying it. It's one that I seem to be grabbing more often. It's on my shelf. It's on my top. It's actually on my top shelf, and it's just one that when I'm wanting something, just something good, something that's reliable. That's what I would say. I tend to just go and grab it. So it's a Whisky Win. Hopefully that's focused on there. There's nothing else I've got to say about this whiskey. It's just a solid dram, and I don't think you can go wrong with it. There's nothing off-putting with this. So yeah, thanks for watching. I've been Stuart. This has been Whisky Whims. I'll see you later.